you've stumbled across this lovely podcast. And unfortunately, today, Pat is not with us. She's got grandma duties. The granny woman's always got the stuff to do.
She does, but that doesn't mean that the show stops, because one thing we are is we persevere in these mountains. So we're bringing you a cool topic. What topic is it, Ashley?
It is going to be about covens, how to get out, how to get in, and then when to start packing your shit.
Well, I guess we should introduce ourselves. We are the Connor sisters. I am Misty.
2 of the Appalachia, 3 Appalachian witches, like I said.
Not one, not 2, but 3.
Yeah.
Count them, like a 1 Appalachian witch, a 2 Appalachian witch, a 3.
Anyways, I am Ashley Connor, and this is going to be an exciting show because every time you start witchcraft, you always think, I got to have a coven.
Yeah.
I got to have friends and things like that. There are a lot of pros and cons to that, but it's more important to know when it's okay to leave.
And how to find the perfect coven for yourself. So what we're going to do today, we're going to share a little bit about our life, and then we're going to get in the meat and taters of this, guys, okay? So the first thing is, Ashley, what did you do this weekend that was good?
Okay, well, I know that we've done something really exciting. I'm going to let Misty take that. But it's always important to do good and to do good for your community and things like that. Even though people think you're, a witch and they want to throw stones at you and things like that, you should always get out there and try to make a difference, regardless of the recognition you get. So I'm very passionate about Dachshunds, and especially old Dachshunds, because
weenie dogs, for those on the street, that's a street lingo. Weenie dogs. Okay, weenie dogs.
So I have 2 myself. I did buy them from breeders. Don't hate me for that. But I did buy them for a breeder. They're brother and sister. But anyways, so I'm on a lot of the rescue sites. Usually Dachshunds, they'll get really bonded to their owner. I'm telling you this story for a reason. They'll get really bonded to their owners or their family, and they will not like other people. I enjoy that because I love loyalty. But I realized when I volunteered, because I'm on rescue sites, and one of them needed a ride from Virginia to Pennsylvania. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going that way this weekend. So I volunteered to drive this dog, and he was very cute. He was a little red one and a traditional. His name was Snugs. And I'm like, absolutely, I will take Snugs. 5 hours down the road. How long is it? Was it 5? Okay, 4 hours down the road. Oh, absolutely. First, I met her early in the morning at a Cracker Barrel, and I was like, oh, let me help you put it in. She's like, oh, no, we have to put this cover over this crate because Snugs is not friendly, and he will bite your fingers. I was like, oh, well. So I ended up taking 2, surprise to me. But I was like, well, I can't turn down the second one because I already volunteered for the first one. So we carted these 2 wiener dogs. It was an interesting smell.
The reason why I wanted to tell you the street lingo is because when she put it in, it smelled like old hot dog water. I was like, what's Snugs been doing back there under that cover?
That's so funny. So I had anxiety going into the small crate, and Snugs had a bigger crate, but I was just like, I've forgotten this is what dogs smell like. So anyways, I've forgotten the smell of a dog because mine have to be washed constantly. So I am driving along with these 2 wiener dogs that I don't even know. And I'm like, oh God, they're not making noises, which is I was thankful for, because I'm like, hold on a minute. Like, if they're not making noises, I was a little scared they were dead. Because I don't know these dogs and they're older. So they're not making noises. I stopped and got gas. And when I did, I opened the trunk to say hello to lovely little Snugs because, I'm an animal person at heart. And I lifted the trunk and I'm like, hey, buddy, how are you doing? And he's like, oh, and he was going to take me out. So it's always good to do a good thing. Just, yeah. So I drove it all the way up here. And it was funny because I was like, Sissy, I'm just the person with the car driving these Dachshunds. What if I show up and one of them's dead? Old Snug's in the back dead. Misty, I was dying laughing. It could have been because I was sleep deprived. And she said, we're going to say, here, take you some, bitch, and drive off. I was like, you want me to get through a dead Dachshund?
Yes.
But really, I had no other option.
There, what happened was karma for being mean to old Snugs, calling him hot dog water, guys. And it got stuck in my throat. Old Snugs was like, "I'll get you one more time."
So Snugs got delivered to this lovely lady, Snugs, and the other one. I don't even know the other one's name. They just put that in the car too. So they got their lovely dog, and then the next part was that I had to go change to do an experiment. And
Oh, man.
where was that at?
We changed in the finest parking lots and garages that we could find, guys. You don't understand. This rolling train made you show up looking professional. But how it started is not the end result. I'm just saying.
I was so embarrassed because my car has tinted windows, right? Like the back, not the front. And this has gotten me in so many problems because I forget they're not tinted in the front. And I like to pretend my car is like my own property and nobody can see in it. I don't know why. It's like the invisible woman when she gets in her car. So I've gotten a lot of fingers, as in me road rage and being like, what assholes? And then I'll get a rear view middle finger. So I'll be like, yeah. So anyways, so I thought my windows were tinted, but that doesn't work when you line your car in a parking garage and the light is shining through your windshield. I realized that after I'd already changed in the back, and I'm a lady of voluptuousness, so I had to put Spanx on. So that's a wrestle in itself.
It probably looked like two bears wrestling in the back. I was in the front seat. I have no shame. You're going to see everything I got, and you're welcome.
I'm wrestling Spanx on in the back, and then later on I realized you can see everything in the car.
Yeah. On to my good news, guys. No, what she was changing for is we went to the Paranormal Research Symposium. Really, really cool. It was like, and of course, Pat, we're going to talk about her when she's not here, but only good stuff. Pat, she really gets into that. And so do I realized, like, I'm loving these tests. So Pat, being from a college background and stuff, like teaching and, marketing and stuff, she was like, guys, I'd like to go to this. This seems really good. And we were like, yeah, man, that's pretty cool. So she came up with this idea and didn't even know. So let me explain to you how the psychic world works. We always talk about being Appalachian witches and stuff like that. But the psychic part of it is serendipity. Everything seems to line up when you put it in order. So she comes to us and she says, hey, I want to do this. And she's describing it to us. And what it is we're going to give them a test. What are these cards called? Because you were pulling them.
Zinner.
Okay. If y'all ever watched Ghostbusters and Peter Venkman, he's like, wrong, buzz, and it will be the right thing, but he gives it to the pretty girl. It's the first Ghostbusters. If you haven't watched it, you need to go check it out, guys, because it's hilarious. So we used to call it the Peter Venkman test. Okay. So she's describing this.
I don't think Pat knows this because
she
keep
does
on dropping it, and I'm like, you don't know the epicness of this. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll be Pat. You act like you're doing it.
Oh, what do you mean?
Yeah. Tell me that it's Peter Venkman.
It's like all Ghostbusters. It's the Ghostbusters, and it's really exciting, and it's like Peter Venkman and things like that.
Yeah, guys, how this is going to work is,
and
we're like, this is so class. You don't even know you redid Ghostbusters, lady. But anyway, so because if you remember in the beginning, they were all parapsychologists for the university. So she comes up with this. We're going to do the cards. Ashley's going to do them. We are doing the keys, and the audience has to figure out, use their psychic abilities, right? And then. And what happens is we go through, she hypnotizes them. We do Reiki on the whole room to see if it tunes them in, but it puts that antenna up. Beep, 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 if they're getting them better, right? So then they go through the test. Now, we're going to collect all this information and we're going to put it in a document and it's going to be published. I think they said in January in this book, okay? So y'all be looking for it. But the cool part is that's how me and Ashley...
now?
Can we call each other something?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure I could call myself. Well, I actually saw online that they don't actually research when you put a PhD behind your name. They're like, nobody's going to look it up.
Well, then let's just put doctor in front of ours.
No, I don't think I think that'd be disrespectful, especially seeing how we're telling everybody we're doing it. And I don't think they'll believe that we went to doctor classes.
Listen, you see us.
We didn't go to that doctor school.
Listen, you see us coming, and I just want to put my hands on you.
I need a suitcase.
Oh God, I just want a doctor case. But
no, I want to see
what she doesn't understand. Pat did not know in this whole thing when she put it together because she did it. And then she was like, "What do you think, ladies?" Me and Ashley used to do that for each other we would joke about it and stuff like the Peter Venkman test. I actually got so tired of it because I'd want to
Because
do
it
it
was
all the
Uno
time.
cards and I hated
All the
them.
time.
I was like, it was like, what color is this?
We're
What
poor.
number?
And then the mountains, I'd be like, get them Uno cards. They're just as good as the fancy ones.
What?
So anyway, we did that. She didn't know, but that's how we actually started out. So, but there was more intricate stuff on there. So of course the Capricorn and us, well, me definitely, I was like, what are these zodiac signs? Because that's one of them, and the RH negative blood and all this stuff. So that's going to be coming out, and we're really excited about it. But it was a beautiful, beautiful location. It was at the Gettysburg Hotel. Then they had done it at the orphanage, and then I think they did it somewhere else, but we didn't get to go to that one. It was really quick in, and then we had to leave really quick. I mean, after you bring snugs across the county line, you know what I'm saying? And we had to dump them off. So that's some of the stuff we did, and we hope y'all's weekend was good too. So we wanted to segue right into our culture.
Culture.
Our like social media culture.
Oh,
yeah, man.
I was like,
Okay, so everybody knows that we're always on the TikToks, right? Isn't everybody? I mean, that's your favorite thing to do when you go to the bathroom, right? You got to have your TikToks on. So I'm scrolling through looking for pop culture or something like that to talk about, you know, in the witch community and stuff. And guess what I found? Well, you know what I found because I sent it to you. What was it?
well, God, you tell them. You sent it.
Oh, well, I was just going. Okay, anyway, what it was is the Madonna. Okay, so y'all remember Material Girl back in the day, okay? And if you grew up with it, she was very like
She was really darker in my time frame. I think that came
Oh,
out.
really?
Yeah. I didn't know her as the Material. She was always edgy and like darker.
No, she came out grungy looking. She fishnet stockings on any part of her body, ripped like different colors.
I'm pretty sure like Janet Jackson was in her darker phase. She was wearing like
I'm gonna have to go Google after I tell about the Janet Jackson on this one.
I'm pretty sure she was wearing like leather and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah.
So Madonna was not in her darker phase when she started. And then all of a sudden, if y'all remember, I think it was in like the early 90s or something, she came out with this song Frozen, right? Now follow me here. Frozen, that just came across and they were like, do you know she was honoring Hecate? Whether she knew she was doing it or not. I was like, no way. So I go back and I send you the video. And what did you like? What kind of things did you
thought it was pretty cool. I was like, man, that's really nice. I thought she looked really pretty. I don't know if it's just like, I'm like, wow. I saw the first few beginnings of it and she was doing very much handwork and that. And a lot of things is your fingers, your wand and things like that. And you're more feeling the essence of the air. Hell, I've been on a documentary doing it too. Thank you, Madonna. We're right there. You know, I didn't know, but moving that. And then I saw that certain things turned into birds. As far as I got. Yeah, crows.
Yeah. Then she had 3 parts of herself, which y'all really gotta like. I'm gonna post this on literally like I'm gonna post it on our social medias and stuff too, just because it's a hot topic right now. But really go give yourself a treat on that. It turns into dogs. She also is showing the moon.
Yes, I was looking for it.
It turns into like a Doberman. It's so cool. Her scarf does. It's very monotone colors. It's like blacks and grays.
Did she admit it? That's what she was doing?
I don't think so. I think somebody in the TikTok world watched back over it and they were like, holy crap. Like there's 3 of her, Mother Maiden Crone. There was, and then the cool thing is I kind of looked on social media after that and they started showing what she was looking like. Corsets, black all the way down. Yeah. I was like, wow, this is really, really cool. And I don't know if she ever came out anywhere. So do yourself a favor, Google that. That is so awesome. Especially if you're Hecate. And she ends with the word, and some dude even, he didn't know this, but he was, he's like into music, right? He's really breaking down. He's like, it's almost like she's chanting. And I'm like, really? And then it's like she hums, but the last word she holds is key, which if anybody knows anything about Hecate, she really enjoys keys, dogs, crows, the 3, Mother Maiden Crone, like all these things are in there. The moon. She is the deity over witches, if you believe in that. And it's just really nice. I mean, if I didn't know and I took the music out, I would think it was an honoring to her. How sneaky are you, Madonna?
Also, Dolly Parton had, we always talk about this one, them old bones.
Oh gosh.
Me, Misty,
Makes
and
us
Amanda
cry.
just sit there and cry in the
We
car
do. We
sometimes.
cry every time. I think
So it is. That is right there a story of the mountains. It's sad.
if something ever happened to Dolly Parton,
CPS took the baby.
took the baby,
They had
and
a one-eyed cat
and
called
goat.
Wink and Goat. I'm telling you.
Should you gonna tear us up right now, Lord? So that is just something I thought would be cool to say. Okay, so what is our topic, Ashley?
Our topic again is covens. So talking about covens. Now, when you come into the witch world, people are like, well, who's your coven? Who are you with? Blah, blah, blah. And they want to know kind of now at times it could be your pedigree. I've been considered being a coven, but I really consider myself more a solitary.
You want to know something about solitary witches?
What?
They used to kill them back in the day.
Well, not now. So.
No, I have a lot of, I've actually had that question posed to me a lot when we go to conventions and stuff is they were like, I'd like to practice, but I would be solitary and stuff like that. I'm like, girl, get out there and practice.
Yeah.
Get them weird sticks and rocks out of them woods.
People feel odd that they're actually
They're by themselves,
solitary.
yeah.
But I mean, God, how you gonna get somebody together all the time whenever something happens? Like that's my issue. I'm like, God, that's a difficult thing to even get people around. And then you have to understand, you have to make sure that everybody is on the same page, same goals, same mindset, and shit, I'm pretty crazy myself. Crazy sees crazy, and I got a lot of crazy people trying to be friends, and I'll mix my own crazy and magic, not other people's. But you do have a lot of, and then I don't want to sound sexist, but when you get a bunch of people together, now that's not sexist, but when you get a bunch of people together, there's always going to be drama and gossip.
Well, I think so some of the ground rules for a coven, we're telling you from our experience, not personally that Ashley had drama or anything like that. But a lot of the things we're going to talk to you about is going to be about how was our interactions in covens? What did we find? So we're going to give you some tips of the inside story of this, plus sprinkle in some education. So number one, there was a lady who wrote a book. I think her last name was Murray. And if I'm spelling or pronouncing that correctly. So what she did was she wrote a book on witchcraft and she described what a coven would be. And I have been questioned numerous times by Wiccans. Now, Wiccans and what we are different, but all kinds of crafts kind of blend into each other. But Wiccans is a religion and they are taught these things. If you're like us and you're just out there flying willy-nilly, it's good to know this knowledge, but we kind of go by our own beat to our own drum. So 13 is the perfect coven. This lady, this is why there's some backlash on this. She believes there was 13, 12 because it was making fun of the disciples. And then they saved a seat for the devil.
Make sure where did he sit? That's important. Was he the head of the table?
Well, if you got a table that has 6 on each side, you could put the devil at the head of the table. That's 13.
That's right. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then I just imagine somebody sitting down, old, Susan. She's like eating a chip, and she just sits down. They're like, "That's Satan's seat." And she's like, "Oh," she's like, "No," and it's like a really nice chair, and she has to go sit in some shitty.
She's like, "I'll take my chips and leave this coven.
Yeah.
He ain't perfect no more. How you gonna do it with one less?"
Did they talk to Satan when he was
sitting
there, or was it just when he wanted to show up?
Well, I
Was
wasn't there. I wasn't there.
He didn't show up this week, but or were they like, now let me tell you, and they're like sitting here talking to it and be like, what do you think?
Satan, what's your opinion on this?
And then was there one asshole that was like, Satan told me that you look like shit today. And there's just one that speaks for Satan, and they're just rude. They're like, he said, oh hell no, not with those shoes in here.
I hope that they got in a debate. Like we have been in a
psychic off, and I'm just like,
we have been in a seance. Okay, now mind you,
that's not what he told me.
And we were all in a circle, just like this Satan crew here. Okay, I'm not making fun, by the way. Any lightheartedness, if this is your religion, your path, we're not making fun of it. But damn, it's a good laugh. So just enjoy this. So anyway, we were all at the table, and there was an entity that came in. It was like a spirit of a lady. I was very adamant with this. I started like channeling her first, and then some of the stuff that came through, I knew she was an old lady that lived in the woods. She was coming out. It was like on the Mississippi River. It was so cool. It was Halloween. It was a perfect setting. And the lady who owned the house was like, I just did a paper on her. Remember?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, I need to get this lady off of me, because once they get so close, you're just like, oh, get off. Well, because you can't get out of their loops. Do you see what I'm saying? And I just, once it's done, I need you to get back, and so across the table, it bounced. Oh, it's on me. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get so much in trouble.
There's snow everywhere.
And then the other one's like this, and and then there's another psychic that jumps in and is like, I don't believe that's the message they're giving. I'm like, a hell if it ain't. And then the ones on the other side of the table being like, oh. Then she goes into James Brown mode. Remember James Brown mode? They had to throw a cover over her and try to get her away from the seance. Please, gosh, I'm not dropping any names at this, but if you were at that table, it was hopping. And then me and Ashley just like
I thought it was funny. They all just kind of exited, the ones that were being dramatic, and then the ones like, so yeah, about that woman. It's just like, but it's quite interesting. It was a little bit of a psychic off.
So I can imagine that coven was kind of like that. Like if Satan doesn't show up, but they're like, listen, I know the word of Satan. I know what's happening here.
Yeah, I would like, gosh, that's just too much.
Satan wanted Doritos, Susan. What'd you bring? Cheesy Puffs.
Oh, you know what? Susan don't like that damn tuna casserole you bring. It smells like shit.
Satan told me right now there is a case.
He's gonna serve this shit in hell.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, I was like, well,
thank you, Susan. We all get this damn tuna casserole. It's a new torture. Okay.
And Susan always that means it's good if he's gonna serve. I'm like, oh god.
No, but there's something going on right now in the paranormal community. And I'm not gonna mention any names or anything like that. I'm not bringing that up, but there's some drama, right, guys? And one of the things is somebody got fired because they were stealing. And the dude's like, I didn't steal. And she's like, I know you stole. And he's like, look at it's a haunted location. Look at the tapes. I didn't steal. She's like, you know what? This 23,000-year-old ghost then told me you stole and you're fired. That happened. Yeah. Like when you start getting in the spiritual community, that's why we like to.
It's hard with the
it is.
Community. Once they just look at you and you might be having a hard time, they'll be like, your energy is bad.
I've had that numerous times. Yeah. Not towards me, but if they want to get out of the situation, I've seen spiritual people.
I've been spiritually broken up before.
Yeah. Surprise. We're still here.
It was very poetic. It was very poetic, but yeah.
So some of the golden rules of a coven, if you're going to hear these words, we're going to throw this out to you, and then is drawing down the moon. Anytime I have ever been, because you got to understand there's 1,000 different witches out there. There really is. There could be, just like people want to identify themselves as different things, people want to identify themselves as different witches. Okay. So you got to understand there's 1,000 of them out there. But some of the questions you will get asked is, what's the perfect number of a coven? Okay. How do you draw down the moon? Normally the hierarchy of a coven is you have a high priest or a high priestess. Sometimes they can work together. Sometimes it's alone, whatever. The more conventional ones, like we had one, and it was a board. Nobody was above anybody else. We were all on the board of the coven, and we became very legal in that aspect. We have done it before where we've all just been on the coven. It's a small enough coven that we could have done that. I really do enjoy that. But the hierarchy, if you're going in true old school, there is, and then you have to study. How long did you say, Ashley?
3 years, I'm pretty sure.
It's like a year on one day. They go to the next. There's like different degrees. You could do 1 degree, 2 degree. Yeah.
3. I'm really dyscalculus.
So there's different degrees. So you got to understand there's a lot of ritualistic things and stuff like that. But one of them
ritualistic. There's ones that are more calmer and you just do what you feel. Right. There's I have been in so many different atmospheres and just kind of let them lead the way. And I'm like, this is completely different. But it's really interesting and beautiful to see the different types.
We got our feet washed once.
That was nice.
That was nice.
If they invited me back, I'd let them wash my feet again.
Yeah. I mean, You know, who don't want a good foot washing? It was good enough for
It was a
Jesus.
surprise one though.
It was good. It was.
I mean, you gotta let me know beforehand.
There was because we chose to sit outside of the circle because we at that time we weren't as strong into it as we are now. So they did their circle work. We sit on the outside getting our feet washed because to go into a circle, to go into a coven, a lot of times you have to do things like ritualistic baths, things like that. It just depends on how that coven is set up. So we just enjoyed the good foot washing. I ain't gonna lie, it was nice. Some fellows washed our feet and we got to sit there and watch it, and it was really nice. But I will tell you, the universe, God, Goddess, was looking out for that circle because I do know the other girl that joined in. Had they took that shoe off,
you're horrible.
had they took that shoe off, the whole room would have passed out like right on the ground.
There's a certain herb that smelled like this person's feet.
It's some valerian root. Go sniff of it, guys.
You know it. I was like,
I do.
I don't really remember it, but valerian root.
I'll tell you, I smelt that stuff in my dreams.
I
Them
need to
feet
see if
were
there's
kicking.
like a spell to put that in your shoe. Maybe she was
Just
always
sprinkle
just
it in there.
Yeah, maybe she was putting it in there for something. You know.
I don't think so. That was pure.
She is special.
Potent instinct.
She is a special smelling person.
So we've been in those situations. Really cool though. I do enjoy the group of a coven as if
learning. I like it learning. You always see different aspects and things. You grow together and you can really check back. As long as they're like they don't try to dominate or things like that. If you're really like, hey, this happened to me this week, that's so awesome, you know, and it's a sharing type thing and you're both supportive of each other, it could work really well. You don't always have to get naked, by the way. That's something
that's been offered to us numerous times.
I tried to get naked before and I tried to set up a naked one. I was like, guys, it's okay, you know, if we're nervous about getting naked and we're really worried about our body, we could put on masks. That was only 5 of us. They would have known.
They would have known. Guys, if you want us to join your coven, we're a hoot of a time.
Like, well, wait a minute. If the cops show up, we gotta run.
We don't have a horse mask on. You know, just try to run naked through the woods. Just imagine that, guys.
One of my best ideas. Someone pointed that out. I'm like, shit, you're right. So, anyways, you don't always have to. Not everyone is a skyclad. That's the word for it, is skyclad. You also don't have to sleep with some scary, smelly man to be a part of one, or any strange, smelly person. That is a different, you know. You don't have to, is what I'm saying. Don't feel like you have to do sexual favors or get naked to be a part of a coven and things like that. There's other ones that you don't have to. Some believe in that kind of thing, but you know. And
it does. Okay, so Aleister Crowley believed that the most important or the most powerful magic was right at orgasm. I know this sounds kind of crazy. You're probably like, oh gosh, do realize that you should tuck your kids away a lot of time on this show. But right in that euphoria times you can manifest and stuff like that. So that's where you're going to get a lot that want to use that power because it is very powerful. There's a couple other things that, you know, women have been able to incorporate that stuff to make their stuff more powerful, their spells more powerful.
Crowley is a very interesting person to research. I don't want to offend anyone if they are pro Crowley, but
what is it? Thelema. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But he did collect a lot of his pee and poop, and
threw it.
He did, and he thought they were very magical. And there's a lovely story about him getting angry. He got thrown out.
The Golden Dawn.
Yeah, he got thrown out, and he showed up, and they had to pretty much beat his ass. So kick him downstairs. I think it was. We should not laugh at this.
I'm gonna get another cough.
It was an interesting thing. It's well worth a read. He did start, and he had a book that I think he wrote at the time, and he pretty much went tits up on this book, and now it's very popular. Now after he really wanted fame and things like that, but he's a very interesting person if you want to look at it.
Going all the way back, by the way, when I was researching a little bit about covens to give you the professional side of this, coven, the word coven, I think was like in 1650 some, and it was actually said that, there was a group of people, mostly feminine, that would get together and they would cast and stuff. But before that, it was just like a gaggle of women or women, bewitched women or something like that. But officially term came out is 1658. I think it's something like that. So y'all got to remember, way back when, they would call them witches and stuff, but they hadn't used that term specifically for that. So before that. So I think that was kind of cool, like when it came in. Another thing is, guys, is a lot of these covens were underground because it didn't come off of the books as being against the law until the 1950s or 60s. I think it was the 60s. And then before that, you could still be hanged, and that's, and things like that. So after that, it really opened it up. And then that's when Wicca really came over here. It was a big influence, and that's where a lot of more covens came into play.
I don't want to recognize the first coven because there is a little bit of argumentative online about the first coven that was ever, the oldest coven ever. So there's always like different ideas of that. And then you got to also understand, like she was saying, all this stuff was underground. Why would you tell everybody if you had a coven back in that time before, things were not as heated, we'll say. So, yeah. So with a coven, sometimes you'll show up and they'll be like, okay, well, some like for you to sweep around the area to keep it clean, keep it clean and to take away the energy and things like that. A lot of them will have a knife. You're like, what the hell's a knife? You're going to be killing some animals or something? No, there's certain specific meanings for that, as well as offerings of cups and candles and water. And there's so much. Also, if they have food on the table, make sure that you don't eat that food unless they tell you that's the snack bar.
I tried to eat an offering one time. I was laughed at and said, this is for a goddess and you think you can eat it. I just want a piece of apple, guys. I ain't gonna lie. I said, can I have a nibble of this apple? Getting my feet washed on this couch over here. This is a true story. We're going to tell you all the ins and outs. Like, really? People are like, oh, it's a covenant so respected. Listen, there's a lot of crazy that goes on them covens, and I'm here to show you that most of it was me and her.
And then also there's altars. People have altars.
Yes.
That doesn't have a lot to do with covens, but their altars, if anything is on their altar, do not touch that. If they have a dresser or whatever that looks like it's a little bit cluttered and intricate, don't touch it. That could be an altar, things like that. And they have offerings on there. Sometimes it's alcohol. Sometimes it's tobacco, cigarettes, things
Herbs.
like that. So don't touch that as well. So it's very, very just don't touch people's things. No, like even their spiritual gifts and things like that. Wands.
Oh yeah.
And then there's different ways to open the circle and things like that. So
you can call in the four corners also. A lot of times people do that. We
kind of like the craft.
Yeah. Like you can imagine, it's not as dramatic. I mean, we're not going to go to the beach and do this, but it is good to have different representations. There's some covens that do that. Some covens just want to get together, maybe hold hands in a circle in the woods, whatever they want to do. It's their right to. So you're probably asking yourself, how the heck do I find a coven? Number one, I'm going to put that in there. Number two, how do I know if I fit in? And number three, are they using me? Okay. Because that does happen a lot. You will have these people who are in a coven and they're kind of stagnant a little bit, not to say anything bad, but maybe they've just, kind of went through all their resources. And then here's this new budding person that don't know their abilities yet. We have been in a circle where we would do these spells, and it was only one chick that was getting all this. And we were like, wait a minute, we're all putting in these spells, we're all da da da. And of course, the ones that are older and have been in the, oh, it's only in time that you will find this, right? You will find, it will find you in time. Just keep putting it out there. But this girl kept getting it quicker and quicker. You may find that
I'm jealous, and I'll go ahead and tell you the story. So I have a candle, and it had melted into look like a titty. Okay, it looked like a titty, and I said, it's time for new breast implants for myself. And this other one said, I'd like me some boobs too. And I'm like, okay. And I used to carry around a suitcase with all magical things at the time.
I'm proud. You want to go back to the suitcase?
Oh, sure. That's why I want a briefcase. That's just so people think I'm smart. I could put snacks.
Put the booby candle in there.
No, the booby candle's gone because the story. So, anyways, so this candle, it was in my car and it melted down, and this candle formed into a perfect titty. And I was like, this, guys, let's do a spell to get titties. Me and this girl. So I'm sitting in there and I'm like bent over and I'm digging in my old suitcase, and I was looking for different. Oh, no. Anyway, so I was bent over and I was digging in there for other stuff, and I turned around and this lady's got her hands on that booby candle, giving it hell, putting all her energy on there. And you know who got new titties and who didn't? I didn't. And she got new titties.
You know what I'm going to take out of this is she put her intent on it more.
That's what I'm saying. Like that shit before the spell started, she had already like put that into there. I just found this candle and said, let's do this titty spell together. And yeah, so.
Well, I will tell you, we've done big spells together. A lot of people have, and there will be one person. And I went to somebody and I said, can they be sucking out the magic? Yes, they can. They tried to say they can't, but I know they can't. And I'm going to tell you why. Think about this. If you're an empathic person, you really you can absorb people's energy. I can absorb people's energy. How do you think we read? How do you think we move energy? That's how it happens. So yes, you will find these people who are in Covens. Sometimes they don't have that spark anymore, or maybe they have, I'm going to say misplace it, because sometimes life will take you in a path that's not meant for you, right? Mm-hmm. And they need something to jumpstart it. It's kind of like your truck. If it's not, your battery's not working, you hook it up with a bunch of jumper, boom, you're right back in the game. Think about that. So if you go into a Coven setting and you realize that everybody else is getting so much and you're not, but you're leaving drained, and you're giving that energy out, kind of assess the situation and think, maybe this isn't the Coven for me. I'm not matched. Do you see what I'm saying? Because you
could
all
be
want
on
to
the
be
energy frequency. It doesn't necessarily have to be so negative or anything like that. It could be that y'all's energy might mesh well better for them.
Right.
So
this is the same thing I got told, and you did too when that lady got your boobies. Get out. That's what I'm going to tell you. Get out of the Coven then, because you're not matching correctly, and you're never going to feel that. Do you see?
And then it's just going to really discourage you, because anything that you put out in the atmosphere, you're not going to get, and you'll be like, well, this one got it.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna start thinking. Another thing is a Coven. A lot of times they wanted somebody with specialities. I don't think I said that correctly, but
specialities.
You said just like we're gonna get stuck on this word, so we're gonna skip over.
Yep.
Everybody does something good, okay? There you go.
Everybody does something good. Just comes.
So what happens is like, for example, when we first started off, like you like doing glamour magic, which Ashley still does. There was some of us that did fire magic. There was some of us that did tarot cards, and some of us that did more of a healing some of us did there was so many different aspects, so we didn't cross streams.
I mean, we did, but it was more of a, what do you think of that?
Yeah. It was really respectful.
Yeah.
When we, let's say some of us parted and stuff like that, then we would go on and do our own thing. Like, for example, I was around somebody who was a healer and Reiki masters. And so I didn't do that. I did tarot cards. And I did, just psychic readings and stuff like that. When we separated more, then I was able to do that. That's why I do my Appalachian cleanses. I wouldn't have done it. That's what I'm saying about the whole scheme of being in a Coven too. You may start off with them and it may be beautiful, and then it grows and you find your way, but then you're able to bloom in a different spot. So you could stay in a Coven forever. You really could, and you could grow and your families can grow together and it's beautiful. But if you find that you have to part ways, then that's okay too, guys. Know that everybody's got a path and don't feel so bad about it. I have came across in my cleansings, because I don't judge anybody for their path. That's what we're saying too. What worked for us may be tips for you, but it doesn't have to be exact for you. Everybody has their own paths. And I have had people lay on my tables and really know that their coven has hexed them when they left, or that they know another coven is after them. If you don't think there's coven wars,
You don't really
woo,
have to do a cult mentality in a coven.
yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't be, but it kind of, I guess.
Well, back in the day, if you left a cult, I mean a coven.
You were
Look at
gonna
the
be
word
killed,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, you were going to be killed. And a solitaire witch was a dead witch. Because back in the day, we had to huddle together. We had to look out for each other. And if she was left to her own, if you've ever watched that movie Witch, it's old Puritan times. Like, you think about that, guys. Like, if you were exiled, that meant that you would die. Because you couldn't, you couldn't keep everything up for yourself and stuff like that. You had to have that group. So yes, it was very much so like that. Now I think they're more freeing. When we go to events, I've had people come up and be like, I've never met anybody in a coven. I love that you and your sisters are coming. And I'm like, so there's a lot more big push for solitaire because of some of the stories we're telling you, because of some of the things we have been through. Because you always seem to have that. We used to call it the fat puppy syndrome. What's a fat puppy syndrome?
Fat puppy syndrome is when you have a litter of puppies and all of them are lovely and beautiful in their own way. You just got this one puppy that needs all the fucking attention and
all really, the teat.
Yeah, and sometimes
not say it isn't going to be a great dog, but
somewhere
it
else.
is a fat puppy and will suck it all up. Okay.
Yeah.
You may come across a fat puppy. So if you ever hear it, see, we're giving our secrets away. If you ever hear us say, well, she's this fat puppy in it just means that she's sucking up all the attention, the stuff. If you have somebody like that, sometimes it's going to be hard for you so you got to fit in where you get in. You know what I'm saying? You got to go in there. If you're not
a social person, and that's a very large thing nowadays, especially after COVID and things like that. I mean, sometimes it's just nice to be part of a coven online.
That's a good segue, Ashley. Because I was going to tell you that is a big push right now to be a coven online. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like that was a serious thing. But there are a lot of covens that are online.
I'm probably a part of like 5. If you gotta get that little group thing, then you go in there. I probably am.
When did that happen? Well,
like, if you're in a something coven,
if you're in a serious coven, so let's go old school with you. So we were taught back in the days, and I still have some of that. Like, if you had asked me I don't know, a couple years ago or something, maybe 5-6 years ago, I would have turned it right back around you. We were in Salem, Massachusetts, and this lady walks up behind me and is like, are you in a coven? And I swirled around. I was like, are you in a coven? And she was like, yes, I'm in the oldest coven in Salem, Massachusetts. I was like, oh, excuse me. I was just like right back in my place. I was like, oh, shit. Like, I put my foot in my mouth. I was very close.
You wouldn't ask that in Salem, Virginia. Okay. Yeah. No one asked you that.
Plus, we're taught to hide that. That is a generational thing that I know, reincarnation, that has been brought into us. You hide that. Now people are very proud with their covens and stuff like that. But do understand, if you get an old school coven, a very hierarchy coven, your high priestess or your high priest will go after others for you. That's what they're supposed to do. And then you're studying and coming up the ranks. I was talking about drawing down the moon. One of the things, that is one of the things that a coven will do. And your high priest, or the reason why I bring those up is because high priest or high priestess, mostly high priestess, she will bring down the goddess or the triple goddess. And this is, she brings it down from the moon, and then they can speak through her or they can flow through her. Sometimes people will have baths with this, by the way. Sometimes they will get help from their coven to do this, and then she can give advisement of the goddesses talking through her. It's kind of like when you go to church and they talk in tongues. Every Wiccan is hating me right now for saying that, but that's equivalent if you've been somebody in the church atmosphere. The spirit comes into them and they're able to give the messages, but it's more witchy. It's witchy. So that's one of the things, which I think is really, really cool, that you can do, like draw down the moon is what they call that. I met a chick one time that was in a coven, and we were very astonished because she tattooed 13 across here.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, and then she had like tattooed some other stuff. She was like, this is for my coven, and they all watched when I had it done. And I'm like,
they watched?
Yeah, they all came to the tattoo. I do not believe so. Oof. And they all watched while she went to the tattoo. She was like the high priestess. So she was
I
taking
mean, if we
over.
want to take up a donation for like Botox, I will proudly do it for my coven.
She'll get
but I mean,
13
like,
syringes.
yeah,
Yeah.
like,
I've never been. I think there may be a one time big enough to be 13 in a coven, and it's really cool. I actually used product testing on my, like I would make witchy products like for protection and stuff. A love spell that went completely wrong and they called it a curse. You know,
yeah.
these are young budding Misty.
But it
the
smelled
things
great. I wish I still had some of
smell like waffles.
Did not.
Mine did.
Oh, mine was cardamom.
Yeah,
It was like
great.
cardamom and wine.
The lady that used mine, God bless her, she cried in a bar. So
yeah.
And she was very beautiful and, you know, shouldn't have been crying in a bar, but she doused it on and then went in there. So, you know, guys.
I miss that spell. God, I really want that now.
They used to call it the curse.
Like, it's kind of making my mouth water, though. Because I'm excited. Yeah, I don't know.
So you get to try things out. You get to grow. You get to explore. That is great. So we have talked to you about if they want, okay, because we've been propositioned by a dude to have sex. That's what he said. To get in there, you know, we want you to do some sex magic. Remember? When he laid us on the bed and kissed us on his forehead.
I wasn't part of that. It was only the other ones. He knew I wasn't down for that shit. Don't you put them lips on me.
He was like, yeah. Come on in here, Misty. Like a little old billy goat. Like a little.
I remember. Okay. No, that wasn't me though.
No, he got so mad because she was. He laid you on the bed and he was like,
"Oh, yeah, that was no. It's been a few times then, no, because there was another one that no.
How many times this happened?
Not with me. This one didn't happen with me, but
didn't happen to me.
Okay, first off, guys, God love you. I'm going to tell you a secret. If I am in a sketch situation and I think someone wants to try to get it on, I'm going to tell them I have diarrhea. I'm going to talk about pooping all day long. And it's worked really well. I mean, this person laid me on the bed. He's opening my third eye. I don't think he kissed me. I blocked it out. Anyway, so he kept on talking about, yeah, I'm gonna get you in a minute. I was like, whoo, I got that diarrhea. I love to, buddy, but I can't barely hold it in. Yeah. So that is my number one. Nobody wants to invite you to an orgy if you have the shits.
It wasn't that he did really, like, he was trying his best on me, and then he was like, I'll take you as mine. Now looking at it, that's kind of scary that I let him do that. See, these are the no-nos, guys. Don't let people get you
just want to be part of a spiritual special experience.
Right. And he was just like, he got so mad at us. I think he thought he should be witching us so that we would just follow him.
I'm like, what are you doing, man? Why you got these lights off? Like, you better hurry up. I'm on a time limit, friend. Yeah, it's
really weird. He probably did some kind of, see, guys, you got to really, and he wanted us to come into the circle to like do stuff with him and stuff. That didn't work. Okay. I'll let you kiss on me a little bit, but it's
sped up. Yours was a lot longer. I was like, oh,
I know, it was forever. He got mad at me because I was too loud outside. He couldn't perform all the things he wanted to. That's what he said. He was so angry. He was like, you were too late. He comes out of the bedroom and is just so angry. Of course he did it in the bedroom, but you know what I'm saying? So these are some no-nos. Use your best judgment. If people are making you feel pressured to be in here and you just don't feel like you fit, let me explain something to you. Magic is an emotional thing. So if you aren't fitting in and they are wanting you to stay and wanting you to do these things and they're making you uncomfortable, you're never going to bloom the way you need to be. So it's okay to be solitary for a while until the universe puts you in line with the people you're supposed to be, and then you can have a coven. Hell, you ain't even got to call it a coven. You can call it a book club. You can call it, you know, like a
craft circle.
Craft circle. Or you could call it a movie night, ladies. And maybe that's just what you talk about. It gravitates toward. And then you realize, hey, I got my own little coven.
Also, when people give you things, that is a exchange of energy. So if someone gives you something, and like, I don't know if it's just with the people I happen to know or whatever, if you give them something and it's the karmatic law. If they give you something and you don't give them back, or you don't like equal that out, then it's bad on you and you owe them something. So don't accept any weird little trinkets or anything. Be like, oh, thank you, but quickly give them something. Like, even if it's just extra time or advice or something like that. So make sure that you are not in the karmatic debt to them.
Right. And if you ever get something you really like it, though, drop that thing in salt for so many days. You can even bury it in the ground. We did that with some tarot cards and
Now I
some
can't
ruins.
find them.
And we can't find it. We did it on church land too. Just don't tell nobody. But it was in a bag of salt and we buried it. And then we went back up there and
It's
I'm
on
like,
church property.
somebody done took it.
It was before we were down this path, and it was just, they were weird as shit. No, I threw mine out the window.
Yeah, no, yes, there was cards and then there was stones because there were ruins, and we went across water.
I threw the stones out there. Yeah.
But then the cards, I was like, man, I want to go back up there and look at them because they had set so long. So
we've done so many holes up there. Still can't find it.
The good Lord took it.
Yeah.
He's like, don't you have Satan at your circle? I'm gonna take these from you. So anyway, some of the don't make any. Another thing is if
don't
it
sign any
feels,
contracts, or don't put your life on the line for people you just met just so you're part of a spiritual or it's a magical experience. They can really do you and things like that. I mean, I get coven dues, but don't go in debt. Don't sell your whole life over just to be part of a coven. You don't got to do all that.
That's where it crosses into
finances.
Cult, yeah, that's where.
A lot of them on the cults or whatever, they will do that. They'll be like, surrender everything to be a part of this, and you don't gotta do all that.
Right.
Okay. The only magical person is the person you're surrendering your shit to. And then also, I've seen this a lot, and I always warn people because I'm like, God, those sad people. I mean, it's great to believe in something and it's great for things like that, but don't feel like that this weird person that probably would be homeless tells you that they have spiritually been told that they need something and that you need to come up with money to give it to them. Don't
that, by the way, guys, that's happening right now. We see it in the witch community and stuff. And just because they're spiritual doesn't mean that you have to fund that spiritualism.
Yeah, they can. That's your spiritual journey to find your own damn money. So figure that out. But anyways, just make sure that you don't get taken for granted with your essence and your energy, and also make sure that people don't take advantage financially, or just because you have a boyfriend doesn't mean everybody has to sleep with your boyfriend in the coven as well. That is we still have morals. It doesn't mean just because you start taking more power within yourself to do magic, it doesn't mean necessarily that you got to share everything.
That's true. But okay, so again, there are some covens that are like this. You find out what's right for you. Find out this is a line of a no-go. And then, like, I used to work with this guy. When he found out I was a witch, he was like, I gotta tell you this story. My buddy one time went out with this chick and she was really hot. I'm like, okay, cool, and he said they took him, they ended up back at her place. And then, like, one thing led to another, and she tied him to the bed. All of a sudden, all these women came out, and they one at a time. I was like, well, first of all, that's a violation, unless he was. Apparently, it was a good story for the guy, so I don't think he was really. But he was like, all these women came out, and it was a coven, and they took their. And I don't think he protested because he was bragging about it to his friend, but that could go very wrong, and that's not something you should be doing. That is SA, and no. But he was like bragging. He was like, do you know about that? I was like, it could have been a fertility thing. It could have been anything. Every coven has different rules, just like, so it could be crazy. But I did get told that story one time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
It was.
Another thing, you don't have to kill animals.
No.
I don't kill animals. That's a common misconception. You don't got to bring a chicken or a goat or anything like. You don't have to.
Right.
Some people do.
Some practices. You got to find these things out. If you're an animal lover and you get into a coven that you got to bring a chicken and you think it's going to be Pet Your Chicken Day, it could go wrong, man. I'm just saying.
That whole comic could go wrong. Like, what do you mean, pet my chicken?
I would love it to be like a little petting zoo around the table. I'd be like, oh, look here, and then they're like. And then you just cry.
Why
forever.
Would you randomly be like, you bring a chicken, we're all gonna pet it?
No, like if everybody had to bring an animal. Like
that's chaos. And so you ever
I would love that.
Listen, where they're attacking each other.
If you have a coven and you like a guest for the day,
the
and you're having a petting zoo, not then invite me. I'd like to come look at your little animals. This is why covens go wrong with us. This is why all
We're
these.
just so sweet and innocent. Like, I won't come see it, but
I
animals.
do. I would like that. Like, bring your spirit animal, you know?
Yeah.
That would be adorable. That's a good day. That might be an event we have. Bring your spirit animal, and then we all get to
That
sit around
is chaos and a half.
and
We're not
drink
having
tea
that. We're
and
not.
have little animals around us.
No.
They have to okay what predator animal they bring, though. Okay.
That would be all dogs. That's pretty much having a dog park and all kinds of animals in your
I'm
house.
imagining.
And it will shit everywhere.
Well, I didn't
It'll
say my
fight
house.
each other.
I didn't say my house. We're gonna have this at a community center or
Yeah,
something.
a community center with shit and piss
Without carpet.
and attacking each other. No, it's
This
chaos.
is a great idea.
It's chaos. It's chaos. I'm not doing that.
So we've told you a lot of tips to look out for. So let's end on a high note. We want to give you good parting words. We want to make sure that when you come to this podcast that you know that you're leaving with some information, even though it's drizzled in a little bit of funny, but also a good feeling towards the end. So Ashley, tell me something good that you've got out of a coven.
What do I got?
Yeah.
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Well, I can tell you. Like, I can tell you.
There's a lot of good memories.
Yes.
There, you will always be bonded with that person and those people, no matter what all happens. Some of them, well, one in particular, I'm just like, shoot, God. But anyways,
Valerian foot.
That's a good name. It's like
the devil's foot, but it's Valerian foot.
You'll always be connected to them. You always like care for them and things like
Yes.
that. I mean, there's a lot of good memories and a lot of like it's kind of sentimental, really.
It is very much so.
Some of them that I've been fly by the seat of the pants has been invited. I mean, it was a good story.
High note, Ashley. We're
Oh,
on a
I
high
said
note.
it's a high note. It's a good story. I mean, that fella that invited us over, and I had to tell him 5 times I had diarrhea. That's a good story. I didn't get anything else out of it.
It's a good time, yeah.
What do you think yours are?
Mine is okay. So to give y'all a clue, when you sit down and you do workings with somebody and spiritually work with them, it's the most intimate you could get with your clothes on. I'm telling you, it really does. And it connects a bond. And no matter where we go in life, unless you go meticulously afterwards and you just keep cutting those cords to take that away, you're bonded and you can feel their successes and you can feel all of these things that they go through. And you, no matter if you're talking to them or you're not talking to them at the time, if you've been in a coven that has really helped you grow, like God have mercy, we used to do some amazing things in the beginning to watch this. And I have so much love and admiration, even Valerian foot, you know, I really do have a lot of love and actually I have a lot of love and you know we just you know
things, I got a lot of love too. It's just not for that.
It just goes different ways. You see what I'm saying? So
you know what's really interesting though?
Mm-hmm.
That I have dated certain people and they've asked me to do magic or Reiki on them and I won't.
That's because it's very intimate and like you know, but you have a coven that you grow with. If you get in the right coven and they allow you to grow and you are able to blossom and you're so excited to come to the coven and be like, this is what I learned this week, or this is what I did, or I really tried this and it worked. Like I remember the first time I sat with I'm going to call her our candle magic lady. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to use their names. And we were at a location. It was Fairy Plantation. And we both were concentrating on this candle and we got the flame to move. There's nothing like that in the world. Or you remember when we would do little tests and we would go to the bar and we would stand in a circle and we would say, okay, what do we want from this? And we would say certain words. We would say, you know, I want somebody to tell me I'm pretty. I want somebody to do this and this. I want somebody to buy us a drink. So these are the little things we used to do to test ourselves. We would do it even on a bay leaf, whatever you had to do. But the circles were the best, just sitting there and saying out loud what we wanted for the universe. And then going into that bar and somebody walking straight over to you and saying the same words you had said in that circle. There's nothing like that. So that to me, growing up as in my witch community and stuff, I always have a soft spot. I don't care where we are or what we've done, you know, your first coven, if it is done in a loving way, how it ends or separates or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. It was beautiful. Ashley was there in some of these moments that was just so amazing. Like I remember do you remember doing a love spell one time? And the wind took it and it kind of looked like practical magic, and it was like an offering that was accepted.
That motherfucker's still in here yet.
He's riding through a pasture somewhere or something.
Wrong
You know
fucking
what?
way!
You know
Wrong
what?
way!
Do a U-turn, buddy. Bring it around.
Over here! That's so he's so stupid, he's probably going in circles.
It's like the wind. He was like,
Yeah.
woo, it's coming. Woo.
You probably
Yeah.
found a nice rock or some dead animal. You know?
He's like, she's gonna like smells about right. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, but it was really cool. There's nothing like it. So we have told you all the cons, but I want to end with that, like how beautiful that could be. Like I said, you'll always have a tie, and you always, like, I step back. Some of the people I don't talk to now, some of the people I probably will never talk to again. But I still cheer for them. It's the weirdest thing. Like, you know, if they're trying to get their life together or they're doing certain things, I still cheer for them. I do, because there's an intimacy that is shared if it is done correctly. All right. Do you got any more to say about that?
No.
Okay. Well, guys, I want to tell you about some stuff that's getting ready to come up. We're taking a little hiatus from our normal circuit, our, dirty circuit, as we like to call it. Some of the things that we do, and we go to the conventions and stuff, we're going to take about a month off. I don't think we've had a month off since.
I'm excited.
The last time we had a month off was around Christmas and January. And that's, we don't know what we're gonna clean the house. No, we're gonna do all kinds of things. We want to get out there and live like muggles, and just enjoy things. So it's gonna be for a little bit. Get out there and find the magic in your life.
Enjoy your little bit of time. Somebody just said, "Going every girl when they see a leaf hit the ground and it's like pumpkin spice." Man, there are some really good festivals coming up. I'm just saying, and not to mention Scarefest is coming up. So get out there and go forth and live a little bit before the damn winter comes.
That's true. And enjoy your time, enjoy your magic, and find your path, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.